For the past 20 years, I've been helping Malaysian and other Southeast Asia to better speak English. And through training thousands of Southeast Asia, I've discovered a very surprising truth. I've discovered that how well somebody communicates in English actually has very little to do with their English level. It has a lot to do with their attitude toward English. There are people out there who have a very low level English and they can communicate very well. One of them that I remember was a student, a participant of mine named Faisal. He was a factory supervisor. English level very low. But this guy could just sit and listen to anybody very calmly, clearly, and then he could respond. Absolutely express his truth beautifully at a very low level of English. So today I want to share with you what is so different about people like Faisal. How do they do it? And second of all, why is this so important not only to you, but to your children, your community, and to the viewer of Malaysia? Of the third of all, what's one thing you can do starting today? If you want to speak that calm, clearly confidence that people like Faisal have, first of all, what is so different? How do people like Faisal do it? To answer that question, I'm going to take back about 10 years. Okay? I was training staff at that time, and my daughter at that time was taking piano lesson. And I started to notice two really strong similarities between my daughter attitude or thinking toward playing the piano and a lot of Malaysians thinking of attitude toward English. First of all, I should tell you, my daughter absolutely had piano, had the lesson, and had practicing. This is my daughter practicing piano. This is as good as it got. This is the real thing. And she really going to piano lesson because to my daughter going to piano lesson, she was filled with this sort of dream. Because it was all about not screaming up, right? Because in a lot of piano students, to both my daughter and her teacher, her success in piano was measured how few mistakes she made. At the same time, I noticed that a lot of Malaysia went into English conversation with the same of sort of dread. This sort of feeling that they were going to be judged by how many mistakes they were going to make. Now, the second similarity that I noticed was to do with self-image. My daughter, she thought that good piano sounded like, right? Because we've all heard good piano. And she know what her level was. And she know how long she'd have to play like that. And a lot of Malaysians noticed had this idea of that good proper English in supposed to like sounds. And what there, I see a lot of you know. And what their English sound like and how far they will have to go together. And they also felt like they were like my daughter, just bad piano player, bad English speaker, right? English not so good. So I could see the similarities, but I still couldn't figure out. Okay, what is about these people like Faisal that are so so different. That can just do it smoothly, calmly, with confidence. One day, I discovered the answer. I discovered that quiet detail. It was a day when my computer broke down and I had to go to cybercafe. Okay, it was my first time. I discovered cyber cafes are disgusting place. Okay, they're really gross. They are smelly. They are violent with boys. They are all playing noisy, violent games. They are disgusting place. But I had to go there. So I sat down. I started to notice this guy beside me. And I become very excited with this guy next to me. Now, this guy is playing this game. That is basically, this like shoot people until the day that it's that the game, right? And now noticing that this game is not very good. In the fact, he's traveling, right? Because I'm seeing like a lot of sitting and not much dying, right? What really started me was behind this lousy player were three of his friends, sort of standing there watching him play. What I really noticed was, even though this game was tribal, even though his friends were watching him, there was no embarrassment. There was no feeling of being judged. There was so silentness. In fact, quite of opposite. This game totally focused on the bad thoughts. Smile on his face, and he can't think about is killing these guys, right? And I'm teaching him, and I suddenly realized this is it. This is the same attitude that people like Faisal have when they speak English. Just like this game. When Faisal goes into the English conversation, he doesn't feel judged. He is actually focused on the person that he's speaking to. And the result he wants to get. He go to self-awareness. No talk, but his own mistake. I want to share with you a real, true example to paint a picture of somebody who speaks English like they are playing piano. And someone who speaks English like they are playing computer. And this a true story, happened to me a while ago. I was permissive. I had to buy Omega. My doctor said I should get Omega, and I go to the south. There's tons Omega. There's since Omega that's high in DHA. Omega highs in APA. And I don't know which one to buy. No, the sales rep happened to be there. I saw she's like well-dressed, professional woman. I will offer to her, and I see this look as she sees me. I walk to her, and I see this look as this sort of. This book recognized very well. Her eyes go wide, a sort of panic. Oh my God, I've got to speak to native speaker. She's going to judge me and notice my mistakes. I go up to her and explain my situation. Which Omega do I got? And she starts explaining to me everything about data and API you could possibly imagine. She speaks very quickly, goes all around in the circle, and when she finishes, to buy. So I turned to be the girls behind the counter. No, the girl behind the counter. I heard before, her English level is very low. But when I walk over to her, this girl, there is no fears in the fact. She's just looking at me. You know that look? Yeah, okay. So, yeah, I've been in Malaysia a long time. So I go up to her and explaining the problem. APA and DHA. She looks at me. She says, okay, yeah. The APA to her and the DHA for brain. You're hurt? Okay or not? So I said, yeah. I said, my heart is really, I think it's pretty good. She says, your brain is okay or not? I said, no, my brain is not as good as it used to be. She looks and says, okay, you take omega, DHA. Problem solved, right? So we're going to different kinds of communicators. We've got to the one's got a high level, but totally focused on herself and getting it right. And therefore, very ineffective. We've got another one, low level, totally focused on the person she's talking to get a result, effective. And there is lies difference. Now why is this distinction so important not just to you, to your children, but to the future of Malaysia and countries like Malaysia, and how to insert that? Let's take a look. I will actually speaking English in the world today, okay? So if you look at the English conversation in the whole world taking place right now at planet Earth, we will see that for every native speaker like me, they are having non-native speakers. And if we listen to every conversation in English on planet Earth right now, we will notice that 96% of those conversations involved are native English speakers. Only 4 of those conversations are native speaker to native speaker. This is not my language anymore. This is belong to you. It's not an art to be mastered. It's just told to use to get a result. And I want to give you a real life example of English today in the world. A real English today is another story. I was at barbecue a little while ago. This was a barbecue for engineers. Engineers from all over the world, and they were making hot dog. Some of the hot dog were regular hot dog, and some were less cheese and hot dog. You know, with the cheese in the middle, a French engineer is cooking hot dogs, and he turns to this Korean engineer and he says, would you like the hot dog? And Korean guy say, yes please. He says, do you want to do this cheese? And the Korean guys look around at the table. He says, I don't see cheese. The French guy say, the hot dog is contain cheese. The Korean guy doesn't understand him, right? So the French engineer tries again. The hot dog is making from with the cheese. Korean guy still doesn't understand. Oh my God. He tries again. He says the hot dog is coming from no. The cheese is coming from the hot dog. Korean guys cannot understand. Now there's a Japanese engineer who's been listening to this conversation. Korean engineer. And he says, cheese, integrators, he understand, okay? Everybody understand. So this what English today. It's just a tool to play around with to get a result. Like a computer game? No, the challenge is that we know in the school all around the world. English is not really being taught like a tool to play with, and still being taught like it's an art to master. And students are just more correctness, their own clarity. Some of you might remember the cool comprehension exam in school. Does everybody remember in the school? When you get a question about text that you read, you'd have to read through some text, right? And when I answer a question to show that you understood the text, and this may have happened to that you show you understood the text, but you got a big because you made a little grammar mistake. Like the student clearly understood paragraph 4, but no, it's not correct because he left the letter and of the word environment. But in real word, what would matter? In the real word, what would matter is did you understand the email or did you understand customer so that you can go ahead the action? No, that problem that I see here over and over. That is that people take the attitude they develop about English in the school and they bring into their adult life, into their work. And you are having a conversation and you are trying to give a result to someone and say it correctly. Your brain multitasking, it cannot do two things at once. And what I see is brain just shutting down. The first one is that you listen God. Someone is talking to you and you are so busy thinking about how you are going to respond and express yourself correctly. You don't actually hear the other person's side, and I can see a lot nodding in the audience. The second thing to do is your speaking, your mind short and shut down, and that vocabulary you do not just disperse, and the word don't come out. The third thing to go is your confidence. The worst thing about this is you may only the unconfidence because you cannot express yourself freely. But the person talking to you, the mind misunderstands this. As a lack of confidence in your ability to do the job, to perform. So if you want to speak English like Faisal with that great confidence, here the one thing that you can do when you speak, don't focus on yourself. Focus on your person and result you want to achieve. Imagine a next generation of Malaysians with that wonderful confidence in communication that Faisal have. And any level English, because let's remember that English today is not art to be mastered. Just a tool to use to get result, and that tool belongs to you.